This is the worst thing. I can't do this because if people watch this, they like go to the beginning of this video to watch. They're gonna be like, "What the crap is going on?" So hey there, welcome to the 5A Summit. We are just starting a little bit early to let people get on. We already have 3 people. Hi, 3 people. What's going on? I know it's fun. So we are going to be sitting here.
Is that like your parents?
For the next 3 minutes. I have 3 parents. Birth mom? Sorry, I had to get that joke out of the way already.
Oh, why would we do live?
Yeah, doing live was a horrible idea.
Why would we do that? I don't understand.
We lost a person because I'm pretty sure I said birth mom.
Yeah.
And maybe that was
now
her.
we're back up. We're back up.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're a little bit early. We're calibrating all the equipment and we're trying to figure out what we're doing. We have done a live before, so those of you that have stuck with it long enough to see the first one on YouTube when we did that before and are still here, we thank you for your fortitude because that one wasn't very good. And
Right.
the following year's worth of content wasn't all that good either. And and now we're slightly better.
Yeah, slightly.
So that's
So-
pretty cool.
We are going to be waiting for another 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So if you are watching live with us, thank you for joining us. I am going to be sitting here kind of looking at the screen. My wife is moderating at home right now to help us out because child,
Sure.
needy, and loud.
And it's been decided that I can't have a screen in front of me because I'll be too distracted by it.
Very, very true.
So instead, I'm going to sit here and awkwardly look at all of you.
Yeah, so we will be going over the questions and looking here, but I'm not going to explain that yet because it's too early, so I'm going to sit here and eat some Pocky. How are you guys doing today? Did you guys have a good day?
While we wait,
Yeah. It was warm out.
it's finally warming up here
Yeah.
in Michigan,
2
and that's been nice.
minutes till...
It's
Dark.
probably not going to last.
No, not tart.
We're probably going to get another snow in like May because it's Michigan and that's just how we do. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really awkward. We should not have started this
I don't
early.
know, I
1 minute!
I was like, why are you hitting that button?
Uno
And then you
momento until
started
we start.
hitting the button.
I'm
You
just going
hit
to eat
the
another
button.
Pocky. This is really good. Green tea Pocky. Really
Green tea
good.
Pocky. Pocky is like the quintessential gamer snack.
It is.
And,
But even more so if you're Asian,
yeah.
you just look super legit.
And we do play games.
Yep.
The problem being we're just not very good at them. At all. So,
Alright, like 30 seconds. You just have to deal with this awkwardness for another 30 seconds until you have to deal with more awkwardness after that. So hooray for you! So
Yeah.
how was your day?
not bad.
This is the worst. I should not have started early.
Yeah, you're
Hi, Tammy from Nevada. It's snowing in Nevada.
on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, it's
No.
snowing there. I'm sorry. It finally hit like 40 degrees here, so it's bearable,
Yeah.
which has been great.
I didn't wear a coat today.
I did.
I'm long sleeve and vest in it,
I did. I wore a coat.
which is my
All right, it's 7:30. It is time to officially start. So let's kick off by saying welcome to the 5A Summit. Ask an adopted adult anything. This is your opportunity to be able to ask us all the ridiculous questions that you have been fearful of asking other adoptees, and rightfully so. Don't ask them ever. Just steer clear from all of that.
But feel free to do it here.
Feel free to do it here, live on the internet.
On the internet with your name attached for everyone to see.
Yeah, I'm so excited about that. So, you guys are going to be able to ask your questions in the chat. We have moderators. My wife is helping out at home. I'm going to be reading it live. Would love to watch, but it's bedtime for the kiddos. Go put those kiddos to bed and then come back and hang out with us. We'll still be here for the next hour.
And that's all.
And that's it. And
That's
then
all we're doing.
and then we're taking naps after that because oh dear goodness.
We should have
Woo!
taken a nap.
What's
before.
going on, Amy? How are you doing? You seem really excited.
Very happy.
Awkward is very on brand for y'all. It's very true.
We've built this whole channel on awkward.
So, here's how everything's gonna go. I'm gonna lay down a couple ground rules for you guys, just so that there's no confusion. If you have a question that you would like to ask, throw it in the chat. We are going to be having the questions show up, and we are going to be answering them. That's a really awkward way of putting that. However, we do ask that you be polite and respectful to everybody's opinions and questions. Just because it might not align with yours doesn't mean we're not going to make fun of it, so give us a second to think about it.
It's hard to make fun of things spur of the moment.
Yeah, we need a second.
That's why we don't usually do live. We're usually taking our time.
So again, just be politeful, be respectful of everybody on the chat, because our moderator does not have any fear of using the ban button.
You said politeful.
Politeful?
That's not a word.
Delightful. And polite. Polite and delightful. Darn it, we should have just recorded this. All right, so we're gonna start off by asking you guys right now to just go and share this Facebook Live. I'm actually gonna do it with you right now, so it's not awkward for the rest of you. See, it shows up right here. We are live. I'm gonna hit share and say we're live. Just that, real quick. That'd be awesome if you guys can go and share that real quick. We're just trying to get the word out there to the people. We have 28 people watching us right now.
Ooh.
So that's fun. Thank you guys again for joining us. Hit that share button, hit the like button so we know that you guys are here. Let's start. So we actually have a couple questions that have already come in, so this is fun. I should scroll down. Oh, dear goodness.
Oh, they're coming in.
So we're going to start. Let's start with an easy one. Amy, you guys are always drinking tea. What's your favorite kind of tea? I feel like I should go get a cup too. Right now I'm drinking, what is it, peppermint? Citrus peppermint?
You are drinking citrus peppermint green tea simultaneously.
It's delicious.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We that's a Teavana, and the reason we bought that
Not a
was
sponsor.
was because their packaging looked cooler than everybody else's
That's
packaging.
really it.
That's the whole thing.
What's going on, Jenna? How you doing? I don't know
Yeah.
what this is. I'm throwing
That's
up gang
terrible.
signs. I know.
Yeah.
All right, so question that came in. This is from Joanne. Says, hey, my son is struggling with social anxiety because his classmates make fun of him for being adopted. Any tips on how to help him? You want to take this one? Because I was the bully in school, so
That's true.
I was mean in school.
I don't know that I necessarily ever suffered from social anxiety so much as, like, I had a very tight-knit group of friends that I was friends with through, like, elementary school, middle school, high school, like the same group of guys through that whole time, and they kind of got me through it, honestly. It's less about acknowledging the people that are against you, as it were, and really just focusing in on the people that are for you.
Right.
I think as far as, like, I don't know that I ever had classmates that overtly made fun of me because of being adopted.
Right.
There was a lot of racial overtones.
Yeah, a lot
in
of
the
Asian
80s.
ones. I got called Jackie Chan like every other day.
Yeah. Because we totally all look the same.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know that like adoption as a thing came up. Also, as we get older, a lot of this understanding happens that we just come to realize that kids are kind of jerks. Like, like kids will just say stuff, and really it's less about being mean a lot of the time, so much as it is just pointing out the things that we notice are different.
Yeah, it's
And,
super easy.
And that's, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Adopted or racial minority or any of those kinds of things are just easy things to look at. So,
Right.
Depending on age group, as far as, like, getting through, I don't know, therapies have been helpful for some people. A lot of the books say that you should engage in some of that stuff with somebody that understands it.
Yeah, being able to find other like-minded people as well.
Right, or just normalizing the experience on the other end. So,
Yep.
like, hey, here's some adoptees that are okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing, you know, like, a lot of kids just want to know that it's going to be okay. Like and as adults, we understand going through the hard stuff, like kind of defines who we are. As a kid, you don't get that at all.
Right.
You just want it to be okay. You just want it to be done. But it really does help to know that, as cliche as it is, it does get better. And so being able to find those resources and be able to say that there are other people that are not just surviving but thriving out there, that's huge.
Right.
That was a big thing for me. Like, especially, again, it was mostly the Asianness instead of, like, the adopted side. We didn't really make fun of people for being adopted. It was just I looked different and I was raised in a white community. But they would always call me Jackie Chan. I would just be like, Jackie Chan's awesome. You know his name, and he's more famous than you. Yep.
Everybody's more famous than that kid.
That's very true. That kid is a punk.
Nobody's ever heard of him.
Yeah.
Come on. Everybody's
Yeah.
heard of me. I'm Jackie Chan. I always preferred Jet Li. I thought
Jet
he was
Li.
more
Me
effective
too. Me
as
too.
a-
Jet
as
Li
a-
was awesome.
as a punch guy.
Okay, this is from Tessa. Did your adoptive parents have biological children? If so, did you feel treated differently? You're an only child,
I'm an only child.
so this doesn't apply to you, so you can just sit there. I have... Don't leave. I have an older brother, but he is 20 years older than me, and his upbringing was completely different than mine. Now, my parents' situation was a lot different back then, and they learned a lot of things to do and not to do during that time. So it's not that I was treated differently, it's just I don't know any different. Now, like, we're cool and everything. We don't, like, talk or hang out really that much. But, yeah, I never thought that I was treated differently just because I was adopted. But, I mean, there are some people out there that do.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
To a degree, there's some legitimacy to that, right? Like,
Yeah.
Adoptees typically have trauma and grief experiences that require being treated a little bit differently. Like, from a moral standpoint or from a directive of, like, do you love that child any differently? No. But do you raise that child a little differently? Yeah, maybe you do, because they have different needs than
Right.
perhaps your biological children did. Just a side note, I don't care for the term biological children because it makes adopted children sound like we were test tube
babies.
Synthetic versus biological,
Yeah,
maybe?
that is true.
Yeah.
We
Anyway,
were test tube babies, though.
I mean, for all I know,
Yeah.
we're a super synthetic manifestation.
Moving on!
Fine.
Did Netflix call us yet? Jenna, no, they have not. We are still waiting for that phone call. Thank you so much for putting it out there.
You'll be the first to know.
Yeah,
if they do.
We will give you a special shout out if Netflix calls us, which would be super cool.
That would be cool.
But they haven't called us
It'd
yet.
be really weird, I think,
Yeah.
to be a part of. Like, we're just now starting to be part of this whole adoption thing, and it's a lot bigger than we realized when we started.
It is.
And
It's a lot bigger.
Who knows? And it'll be weird to see if we get any bigger than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, moving right along, again, if you guys are just joining us and you have questions that you would like to be answered, again, this is why we are not live usually, go ahead and throw it in the comments. Our moderators and myself will be checking it, and we're making a list right here, so we're just going down the list of questions that have come in. So, this one is from Sarah. How important do you feel it is to raise your child in a diverse area? This one's interesting.
This is an unpopular opinion.
This is interesting.
I don't think it's that important. But that's because of our experience has really shown that it's not a huge deal.
Right.
I think for people that are, it can be highly beneficial. I think from my experience, I was raised in an entirely white community. I can count on one hand the number of minorities of any race that I interacted with on a regular basis. And I think I turned out pretty okay, all things considered. Yeah, and that opinion is actually one that I think has gotten us kicked out of a lot of groups.
It has. When people talk about this, or there was one comment, and it's asinine. I'm just gonna flat out say it right here. So if you don't agree with it, sorry, but you're about to be offended. They were saying that there was a question brought up asking, hey, we're adopting from this area and just looking for advice on how to incorporate their culture in that because there's not many other minorities in the area. And somebody wrote on there, they had the audacity to write, if you are not prepared to move to a more diverse culture, then you should not adopt. And I said some things and got kicked out of a group.
And we're not part of that group anymore. So that was fun.
Oh boy, that was an interesting one because okay, so we were raised very, very, very white, in very white communities, and yes, there were some hardships, right? We had to deal with a lot of the race issues, being called Jackie Chan all the time when all we wanted to be was Jet Li. It didn't happen, but we had to go through this stuff, and honestly, it's kind of helped us acclimate more to our surroundings. And the people that we interact with on a daily basis because of the things that we've had to learn from childhood. And it was not easy at first. There were some times when, you get that jerk kid that you just want to elbow drop and, just making fun of you because of different things. But on the flip side of it, you get people who love you for who you are. You get friends that want to hang out with you because, you're a cool person instead of the color of your skin or anything like that. And it really does help build that character. So, no, we don't really think that it's super important to have to raise your child in a very diverse area.
I think we think that diverse experiences are good in general.
Yeah, very much so.
We raise our kids, my wife and I raise our kids in a way where we're experiencing as many different cultures and things as possible. I want them to eat more than hot dogs and pizza,
That's all my kid wants to eat. So sad.
Raise your kid more diversely.
She loves asparagus.
Good for her. Asparagus is great, man. As a general thing, absolutely, diversity is fantastic. But should you, because you are adopting, specifically change how you live your life in order to accommodate just that thing? Unpopular opinion, but no.
It's lame. Don't do it. This is from Gail. This is a follow-up question.
Oh, okay.
Davo, if you don't care for the term biological, what term do you prefer? I prefer biological to real, which just sounds like my adopted children are fake. we did do a segment on things never to say to an adopted person. That was actually one of them.
Right.
Just are they your real kids? Are they fake kids? What the heck?
I don't have a good answer to that. By the way, that is totally an opinion that I personally hold that has no bearing on anything else. I just don't care for it. I also don't really care for the term transracial. I don't care for that.
It sounds funny.
In that case, I would prefer transcultural.
Yeah.
But not transracial because nothing has actually changed. Still Asian. I'm not Asian because I was adopted, but I do have a different culture because I'm adopted. So that's a term that I actually have a backing for. As far as the biological thing, I don't have a better one. I just that's just an opinion I hold.
Test tube babies.
Yeah, synthetic.
Yeah. All right, this one comes from Jill. We're going to keep going along. We have 76 people with us right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Love you guys. You guys are amazing. Relearning your native language. My son is young and has been home for about 3 years. If you had a choice, would you have wanted to relearn Korean early or make the decision later on yourself? Currently, my son likes the idea of his language, but the people that speak his original language to him scare him a bit.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be terrifying, I
get
guess.
that. Yeah. Because we're not really Asian.
No.
Which we just talked about.
We're fake.
Right?
We're fake Asians.
Because we're transcultural, right? I don't have that. Right. And so somebody that was raised in that and assumes that I should is somebody that is a little bit terrifying.
Like next door.
Right here, we have legitimate Koreans.
Yep.
And I don't think they think that.
Oh, she did not like you.
She was not happy with me.
When you did not speak Korean.
No.
I do think it would be interesting to go back and learn Korean from a young age. Mm-hmm. As a kid, I wanted nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with it. But as an adult, it's very interesting to me now. Mm-hmm. Actually, like, I want to learn Japanese. I've tried learning Japanese a little bit, and I can say a couple words
Sure.
here and there, just because I do like Japanese culture as well. But I think it would be real interesting to go, if I could go back and relearn a language, yeah, I think it'd be cool. But again, as a kid, nothing to do with it.
No.
Because that wasn't my culture, right?
As an adult, I actually want to learn the Romance languages, so I'd rather learn Italian. Which actually has more to do with the fact that I think it'd be funny to be Asian that's
speaking
fluent in
Italian.
English and Italian.
Yeah.
And maybe German, like that would be really funny.
German fun overhauls, I mean, so.
Right? And like a lot of my heritage is Germanic,
Yeah.
so like having in my adopted side having that would be kind of fun. But if the kids want to, I'd say go for it, but also be ready for that to change,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Keep going along. Amy, she asked, I spit. Sorry.
Gross.
Have either of you ever been diagnosed with reactive attachment disorder? Anyone in your adoptee circle? Does that generally improve some with age and maturity?
Rad. I was.
Rad.
I don't think either of us has ever diagnosed with anything.
No.
But we didn't.
Probably should have been at some
We didn't
point.
go to any doctors. No, I don't. There are some kids that we come across, or there's some people that we have come across that have rad. Never been diagnosed with rad, and honestly it seems to tend to vary. Parents that really understand it, that really understand what that is and how to approach it, seem to do a pretty good job of effectively helping kids to attach, specifically to them as a family unit, as opposed to either nobody or everybody. Seems that
Right.
rad kind of goes either way. I think it's possible that my parents probably thought I did have it when I was in my teens, but I think that was maybe an 80-20, right? Where is 80% I was just a teenager that didn't want to be home anymore. And
Stop telling me what to do, Mom!
right, 20% on top of that was maybe some attachment stuff that needed some looking at.
Right.
So, not necessarily just age and maturity, but I think that rad needs to be approached really intentionally.
Yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never diagnosed with anything like he said. I definitely had some attachment issues. It kind of went both ways, and I've talked a little bit about this. Like, I was super clingy with the people that I did attach to. You can't leave my sight, otherwise you vanished forever, and you died, and I'm on my own again. That's what happened. I just know it. But the other side of it is, too, is I was always afraid, for subconscious reasons, to attach to people. So I got very good at keeping people at arm's length, but making them feel like they are a part of my inner circle. And I'm still good at that now, and I'm trying to work on that.
It's a level of sociopathy.
It is. I'm a crazy person. But it's something that you definitely can work on. We won't get too deep into the science of things, but check out the concept of neuroplasticity, changing your brain. It's good stuff.
Yeah. As an adult, it's much easier to approach those things and make cognitive changes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your foot touched my foot.
Gross.
Please don't do that again. This is from Danny. Real quick shout out to my wife, who is at home scrubbing through all of your guys' messages and questions and stuff to put it for us to read. So,
Making sure
we got a lot of questions.
Oh,
Okay,
keep
we're gonna
coming.
keep going.
All right.
Woo! Thanks, wife. Love you. Danny, have you ever taken a heritage trip to your birth country? If you did, what were your feelings on the trip? And if not, would you want to? Have not. I want to. Primarily because the food looks delicious, because the little nothing town that I was born in doesn't exist on the map. I've looked. It's either that or somebody spelled it wrong on my birth certificate. So it's just...
Check the G's and K's.
Oh.
Interchangeable in English.
See?
Yeah. Now you know.
No, it's still for the food, though.
Yeah.
What about you?
I have not either. That's actually something that I've looked into more recently. I am very interested in doing that, but honestly, that hasn't happened until the last, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's been the last couple years that we've really dug into this kind of stuff.
Yeah. and I definitely want to. And it's only within the last probably couple of years that the reason for that is to actually like I would actually initiate a search just to see what comes up and if anybody that I have out there related is findable.
Right.
But primarily, I'm genuinely interested in Korean culture, and I'd
Yeah,
be curious to know
me too.
what that's all about now.
The
So,
culture does fascinate me.
Yeah.
You know, like just Eastern Asian cultures, the culture of honor that they have out there is super fascinating to me. So that is definitely a reason why. Not so much the search for me. We've talked a little
Right.
bit about this,
Right.
but we're at different stages as well. You know, says that he's 3 years ahead of me, which he's 3 years older than me.
So that's pretty much.
So
I
it,
mean,
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Give
maybe I'll get there.
maybe in 3 years.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see. This one comes from Beth. Do you ever have sadness or mixed feelings on your birthday?
Absolutely. Yeah. As a kid, I think I faked it a lot better than as an adult. Birthdays in general are kind of a mixed bag for me now. There's for many reasons, not just adoption. We include a lot of grief stuff and a lot of happiness stuff. So like I experience a lot of joy and also a lot of grief at the same time. As an adult, on top of all of that stuff, also I'm extremely introverted. Like we're both very introverted people. So outside of these shows, most people don't see us very often, and we're not that interesting.
We are
And,
not interesting at all.
So, so for my birthdays now, honestly, the understanding that my family and I have, I celebrate an introvert day where I spend the whole day by myself, and then I have dinner with my family, and it's been a tremendously healing experience for me and I find it extremely enjoyable. But yeah, birthdays are a thing where, especially now, having learned that. I mean, really, nothing on our documents can be trusted, right?
It's true. It's very true.
We're pretty sure that I know what my birthday is, and so just having that kind of thing and putting yourself in the headspace of like, it's possible that my birthday isn't even my birthday, and that's one of the most basic facets of me as a person.
Right.
That brings on a lot of questions, and then ultimately, I think a lot of sadness.
Yeah. Now, I've never really felt sad on my birthday. Never really, and I know there's a lot of people, like David was just explaining, there's a lot of, wrong, awful information out there, and so you can't really trust anything. But my perspective on the whole thing is, is a lot different than most adoptees. Part of me is grateful to be alive. There was a point where the doctors were telling me I wasn't going to be alive much longer. And so that was a huge thing for me. That kind of did put a lot of things into perspective when, like, oh, you're going to die. That's fantastic. Thanks, doc. You kind of tend to see things differently. And it's experience, right? My experience is different than his experience.
Right.
And so, therefore, I have a different viewpoint on something like birthdays, whereas Devo's experience is completely different because I never went through anything like that. I had to go through this traumatic experience in order to come to the point where I decided myself I was going to be okay with certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your health upbringing was way different.
My health upbringing was terrible.
So I think you've had to address some mortality issues, perhaps that I never have. So,
Oh, yeah.
that definitely factors.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure, it does. And there are a lot of people, like there's a lot of groups, we're part of a Korean adoptee group that, there's a lot of them that don't like their birthdays. They get really upset and angry whenever their birthday comes around because they just think it's fake information. And it very well could be. We don't know.
Right.
So there's that. This one comes from Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
How can us as parents be supportive to our children who are struggling emotionally? My son feels insecure about his place in the world. He really has a desire for everyone to like him, and so he gets clingy with kids. Oh my dear goodness, this was me. Oh, I wanted everybody to like me.
Which is funny now.
Which is funny now, because I don't care. I'm a horrible person.
It's very specific for you.
Yeah,
But when you find that person, it's very difficult.
right,
Like,
yes. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But, I mean, part of me, so it went the opposite. Whenever somebody didn't like me, man, I went straight to that bully phase. Like, I was mean to the
okay.
kid. Like
Wow.
if they rejected me, I was vindictive. I still am. I'm working on it. I'm human. Leave me alone. But like I went straight to the phase where I'm going to destroy your world because you don't like me as a person or tolerate me as a person even. So as
Didn't help.
yeah. But as parents though, as parents, it's always key to be very open with your kid, and making it safe for them to be able to be open with you. There's this huge thing going around, and I don't know if it's just my Facebook feed or other people's Facebook feeds, but there's two sets of sayings. Like one is, "Oh man, I screwed up. My parents are gonna kill me," and then the other one is, "Oh man, I screwed up. I gotta call my parents." And I'm not saying well, I mean one is better than the other, but there's a certain place where as adoptees we want to be able to feel comfortable with bringing up emotions or topics because we won't otherwise. If it's not completely comfortable and it's not sometimes initiated by somebody else, we just won't talk about it. We're very good at just keeping it here. Sorry, I knocked it over. Are you feeling emotionally upset right now?
I'll be okay.
Are you sure?
No.
I don't know. What about you?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I definitely have been that same side of like I really like adoptees that we know and ourselves specifically really want very badly to fit in.
Yeah.
During
So
adolescence,
bad.
especially like it's so important that we be a part of the group and included and seen as if really nothing is different, even though it totally is, right? But it's hard to acknowledge that, and I mean that's adolescence as a whole as well as adoptees.
Yeah.
And so to have any of those experiences where that doesn't happen, like the quintessential for me is like I would never leave,
Right.
right? Like it was impossible to leave a party or a group situation or whatever until everyone had acknowledged that I was leaving.
Right.
I don't like just this, this insane thing where I had this need to just like, please acknowledge my existence. Okay.
Well, now I'm gonna
Like,
leave now.
And how needy did that appear? And there's a level of insecurity that is just inherent there. But as a parent, this is really difficult because the best you can do is just continue to be available.
Yeah.
And you're the one that brings it up. And
Yup.
you're the one that just said, and not to say, let's sit down and have this talk, but I'm available if you want to have this talk.
Yep.
This talk is probably going to happen, and it's just constantly letting kids know that you are there, you are available to have it. That's what my parents constantly did for me. They were always asking, do I have any questions? Do I want to talk about it? Am I there? And 9 times out of 10, no. But
Nope.
the occasions where things did break and were really hard, I mean, I found my mom, I found my dad, and we talked about those things. Because I always knew that they were there and I could.
Yep. It's huge. It's huge. All right, moving along. We got a bunch more questions in. Stacy Ann, what is one thing you wish your parents knew about how you felt about being adopted? I have a 7-year-old and 1-year-old adoptees.
Cute.
We're different. I do not look like my dad. Dad, stop trying to say that we look alike.
He still says that.
He does. And he's bald. And it terrifies me.
Is that why the hats?
Yes. I'm self-conscious now, Dad. Look what you've done. I have a full head of hair and I'm still self-conscious.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
There's an interesting book called 20 Things Adoptees Wish Their Adopted Parents Knew by Sherry Eldridge, which we may do as part of a series here later on. We actually are really excited to get the chance to meet her in a month here. We're going to go to a conference.
we got invited to go speak at a conference and be some entertainment and talk to people and hopefully make them laugh.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
And that has a lot of good stuff. I think Brett's point, we're different than you expect.
Yup.
Maybe we're gonna be is a big one. We're different than most kids expect.
Yeah.
We're gonna be, and it's helpful for our parents to know that. and then yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
On top of that, what do you wish your parents knew? As an adult, I think it would have been helpful for my parents to know just how much I felt that I had to protect them from.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That was huge.
There's a huge amount as an adoptee and as an Asian adoptee specifically that stuff would come up that I just never brought up to my parents, which is actually kind of a big regret of mine now that we never got to have those conversations. But I think for them to know that that I feel an inherent need to protect this and also to protect the connective relationship that we have by not telling you stuff maybe warrants some thinking about from the parental standpoint.
Yep. All right,
moving on.
I don't want to butcher this name. You butcher this name.
Cinzia. Sorry. If that's right, give us a gift down there. But if it's wrong, we apologize.
We do apologize for that. She asks, or says, we have a little boy, just turned 5, who has a twin, which stayed with the biological parents.
Ooh.
We want our son to know everything about his bio family and would never lie to him. Any advice on how to handle this? That's interesting. I have not run into this one before.
100% transparency.
Yep.
And which means that when you don't know,
you just say
you don't know.
That's it. That's the best you can do.
That's it.
You don't want to lie to the kid, and I know that you're saying that you would never lie to them, but as parents, sometimes you feel like you need to protect your kid, and sometimes that comes with not necessarily lying, but not really being transparent and open with them. That will come back to bite you in the butt later.
Yeah.
When they find out. So being open with them and being honest and letting them ask you questions, like, don't probe. Okay, let's get this out there. Don't probe them. If they don't want to talk about it, don't make them talk about it. It's nothing good is going to come out of it. But being able to ask them questions and know that they can ask you questions, that's fine. If they don't want to talk about it, that's perfectly okay. And a lot of parents are afraid of that. They feel like they need to pull information from their kid because there's some deep hurt or something like that. All that's going to do is just drudge up more anger, bitterness, sadness, whatever it is. So just tread lightly.
Adoptees have to face things that are hard. That's the quintessential truth of it.
Yep.
And you don't serve anybody's interests by not presenting the hard stuff as a trustworthy person in your kid's life. The best way to do that is to be completely open and honest whenever it happens. Granted, you're not necessarily going to need to provide all the details for like a 5-year-old.
No.
But, they're going to ask and you have to tell them what you know.
Yep. All right, this is going from Sarah. Did you guys ever go back to visit your foster family? We're leaving for Korea soon with our son who is 8. No, have not. Don't know if I would. I don't know. I was only so I got bounced around from foster family to foster family. It's with 5 different ones in the span of 5 months. So it's a little bit different for me because, again, I don't know them. I'm super grateful. If you are watching and you were my foster parents, I am super grateful for keeping me alive. Thank you.
You did it.
But, I mean, that's it. I was going to say something terrible, but then I stopped.
Yeah.
You proud of me?
Good job. Because we're live.
We're live! Oh, no.
If
this
we
is
weren't
terrifying.
live, that would have been said.
Yeah.
And then I would have been the only one to hear it. So that's great.
So yeah. I mean, I think it's cool if you have the opportunity and you want to be able to go talk to them. Sure, go for it. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I had one. If when I go back and I have that opportunity, I will. I think that honestly for us is more that we actually work with a bunch of foster families here. In Michigan, and we know from experience how grateful they are to know that the kids whose lives they impacted when they did turned out okay, right? So it'd be different if I thought everything sucked. I wouldn't probably want to look those people up and be like, hey, thanks for, taking care of me for those couple of months and everything sucks now. But, like, everything's pretty good. I like who I am
Right.
and we like life now. And so, from that perspective, I really think that would be rewarding, I think, for foster families that did that.
Yeah.
When they did. So, and
It'd be interesting.
I have a picture of my foster family. I don't have any pictures of my actual, birth family. So I have more of a
So
physical
Davo's birth
connection to
mom,
look to.
please send him a picture of you and like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is coming from Katie. I mean, if my mom's out there too, you can do the same thing. Have either of you met your birth families? If so, how was it? How did you juggle it all? And if not, would you want to? I think it'd be interesting to be able to meet them. The more this conversation comes up, the more that I think about it. I think it would be interesting. Like Davo has talked a little bit more about this, and he's put feelers out there, and he wants to, and I'll let you explain that in a second. But the more that my kid grows up, the more I see more of me in her, and the concept of nature versus nurture. It's weird because nurture, we're trying to make her more like her mom, but she's very much like me, which is weird and super terrifying in the most amazing way. But I would be curious to see if that kind of runs in the family. That's part of like one of the bigger things for me right now is figuring that out. But I mean, again, you've wanted to search for the last couple years now.
Yeah.
Or put some feelers out there.
Yeah, and it's mostly because of the kids more than anything else. Like having my
Right.
kids and looking at them and seeing traits mirrored for the first time, right? To see my daughter's head does the same kind of sideways head thing that I do when she thinks about stuff, and I'm really curious if that's like a family trait. Like,
Right.
Is that something that everybody in my family does, or
Do they all do?
like what it is, right? Like my
Oh, I know what
and
it
she
is.
does it, and it's crazy because it's a quirk that I have that I've never seen anybody else
Right.
do in exactly the same way, unprompted, right? And but neither one of us has actually done that. Nobody is in reunion, as they say,
Right.
and so we don't know. But there, that seems to go either way. So from
Yep.
experience, we can't really tell you, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that.
All right.
Can.
This is going to be rapid fire. You
Okay.
ready?
Okay.
This is from Jenica. What online or local cultural resources do you guys know of?
Cultural?
Cultural.
None.
We are not helpful.
From the adoption sphere, we follow a couple of things.
Yeah.
I read a lot of the books, and I follow Return Shout Out, the Diary of the Not So Angry Asian Adoptee. If you're watching, hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for promoting us. We promote you.
Yeah, go check her out.
Her blog is fantastic. But I mean, for the most part, we're pretty new to this, so we haven't really been able to follow very much.
If you guys have any, please throw it in the comments below. We'd be really interested to go back and see what kind of cultural resources that are out there. This is from Andy. How do you talk to your kids about being adopted? Now, this one's kind of a loaded one.
Well, I mean, your kid is tiny.
Yeah, my kid wasn't adopted. I mean, like, are you talking, Andy, and you might have to, clarify a little bit. How would we, if our kids were adopted, how would we talk to them about that? Or how do we talk to our kids now about us being adopted?
I'm going to take that at face value and say, how do we talk to our kids?
Okay.
How do you
Go.
talk to Annabelle about being adopted?
I can say whatever I want to her right now. She's only 2.5. No, I'm joking. That's a terrible thing to say.
You just have to have the right tone when you say it.
No, hasn't come up.
Sure.
So, I don't know. I mean, your kids are older.
Yeah, mine are 5 and 7. It's come up a couple of times, and they're kind of, they're meeting kids that are adopted, or they're experiencing that a little bit, and so it's been fascinating to have those conversations with them a little bit and see them kind of try to work out, like, how come Grandpa on Dad's side and Grandma on Dad's side don't, they've seen the pictures, we don't look anything like them. What's going on there? And my daughter is a sensitive little human, and
She is.
she actually got a little sad about it when
Aw.
she found out that
so cute.
yeah, I know,
love
like
you.
the idea that I don't know biologically where we came from.
Right.
She, it made her a little sad that I don't have that connection, and she does. So that's been really interesting to talk about. But who knows when we go down? A lot of the literature says that many of the people that do a lot of the background searches are actually the children of adoptees. And so it'll be cool to see if my kids really want to engage in that when they get older.
We have many mucho questions.
Okay, we got 20 more minutes.
Let's do this. We
All
can do
right.
this, people. We can do this.
I mean, they're gonna if they keep showing up, we can.
We can sort of maybe do this. All right, Melissa, do you have any other family members that were adopted that you once or that you had close relationships with? How do you feel about your parents choosing to adopt more than one child from the same country? We are considering adopting again. It would be our third adoption. My younger brother was also adopted from Korea, and I thought it was cool for a while. But then he became my younger brother. And younger brothers do what younger brothers do. So it had absolutely nothing to do with the adoption portion of it. It had everything to do with the fact that he was my younger brother. And we would butt heads because that's what siblings do. So honestly, that doesn't really change a ton for me. That the fact that he was adopted. I always told my parents that I was perfect. Why try again? But whatever, they tried anyway, so good for them.
They pulled it off.
They did.
I did not have any other family members that were adopted. I have Brett now, and so imagine all the things he just said about having a younger sibling, and just apply it this way.
Yep. You're a big fat jerk. All right. Keep moving on. Haley,
Okay.
any advice for siblings of adoptees? How to let a sibling know that you are available to talk to them if they want to, but not make a big deal of it? Again, it's that same transparency thing. You don't have to throw it in their face. Hey, you're adopted. I'm not. Let's talk. That's awkward. Don't do that. But being able to be transparent. Hey, are you doing okay? Just asking those questions. It goes a long way, and especially for adoptees who are kind of terrified to bring up their feelings because they don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, or they don't want to scare them away, or they don't want to this or that, or a million other reasons. So just being able to ask the simple questions like that, hey, is everything okay? And it'll come up. It comes up naturally. So be prepared for that. I'm going to let you take this next one. I don't know what it says yet.
Okay.
Amanda, what adoption-related things did your parents do that were well-meaning but unhelpful or even harmful? Ooh. My dad calling me a Twinkie?
That maybe was not super helpful.
I love my dad.
Culture camp was fine. I don't know that it was necessarily
camp.
helpful or hurtful or one way or the other, but it was a thing we did that I don't really have strong feelings about one way or the other. I don't know that there was anything specifically that was well-meaning that was unhelpful or harmful. I will say on almost every adoptee that is a different race of their adoptive family has at some point encountered racism. And every one of us has probably at some point heard the justification of they didn't mean anything by it. And which is a very well-meaning response because kids don't know crap, right? Like they don't know what they're saying and they probably didn't mean anything by it, but that response to racism in the adoption context is awful. Never say that. I'm not going to go into a list of all the things you should say. I'm going to leave that up to you as parents to go read the books and figure out what better options are. But that's a well-meaning response that's often given in response to that one aspect that is extremely detrimental.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Be careful. All right, this is from Danny. What are your thoughts on other trauma-versaries? That's a fun one. Are there dates other than your birthday that were difficult for you? Gotcha, family, adoption day. How, as a parent, can I support my daughter through those days? Don't make a big deal out of it. I mean, honestly, like, the last thing we want to do is inconvenience. The last thing that we want to do is draw more attention to something like that. Don't make a big deal out of it. If they want to celebrate it and they're okay with it, just ask them. Hey, are you cool with this? Do you like this? Is this something that you want to continue doing? If they want to, go for it. We have some personal friends of ours who love Gotcha Day. You know, their family loves it. They have some adopted kids, and you know they're all about the whole thing. Me personally, never was about it. It never came up in our family, but after hearing about it, I was like, yeah, okay. Do I get more presents? And that's pretty much it. But yeah, don't make a big deal out of it. Just, you know, again, open, transparent, honest. Stephanie, I would love to know if between the two of you, if your personalities in the clingy, Brett, and in the pushing away, Davo, was something that you've always dealt with and struggled with, even as toddlers, or more as you hit the teen years, or maybe your parents never said. I was always clingy. So clingy. I actually asked my mom, both my parents, but apparently I would not let go of my mom. Ever. And I could not be away from her as a small child, an infant and a toddler, for more than, you know, like 30 seconds. Again, my brain just processed it as they're gone forever. I'm on my own now. That's a bummer. So,
That's a bummer.
Yeah, it would have been a bummer.
I have always been arm's length. I was a pretty clingy infant, but outside of that, once we hit like the preschool age or whatever, I've pretty much always been a cat.
You are a cat.
You know, I want you to love me and lavish attention on me until I'm done, and then I'll be over here and you be over there, and let's just be good with that. Like that. That's I mean, that is the best way to describe me. Is that I'm basically a cat.
You're a cat.
And that's been pretty much true. Now I think a lot of that is just who I am.
Yeah.
And not necessarily adoption related. And I think it's just kind of exacerbated by the fact that I also am adopted. And so I'm very arm's length with almost everybody.
Yeah, me too. But I was also really clingy with the people that I like to cling to.
Yeah. And I'm not even that.
No, I would cling to him, but he would push me into my computer over
true.
here. So let's not do that.
I would hit you.
This one comes from Phyllis. My daughter and I are watching together. What's up?
Hi.
Question for my 12-year-old Colombian daughter. Was it hard for you to be adopted? At times.
Yeah.
But then at times it really wasn't. It wasn't that big of a deal. We've said this multiple times and continue to say it. We loved growing up how we grew up. It wasn't like, we felt like we were missing out on anything. We really enjoyed the culture that we were immersed in. And so it was great to be able to know where my parents are coming from. I think it would have made it more awkward if my parents pushed Koreanism-ists on me, because they're not Korean.
Right.
It would have been weird. If my mom came out dressed as a Korean person, that would be the most awkward thing ever.
It's just racist.
Exactly. but no, again, there were times it was difficult, because you're thinking about what could have been if this. And let me give you some advice real quick. You're going to want to play the if this happened, then I could have been here game. Don't play it. It's a trap. You're just going to be constantly thinking about it day and night and just wondering what could have been if only you weren't adopted. It's garbage. It's never a good place to go. And the only thing that it does is makes you regress as who you are instead of progressing into who you're going to be. So don't get caught up in that.
There are some things that are hard about being adopted, but there are some things that are just hard about being human.
Yeah. Like not getting concussed.
Brett's had multiple concussions.
Yeah.
I've had the same haircut for 30 years. Until
not anymore.
Just now. Brand new me. So yeah, I mean, if it gets hard, I guess just get a haircut.
Yeah, and then everything will be good again. Oh, that was terrible.
That's awful.
Okay, we got to keep moving on.
Okay.
We got a bunch more. We got a bunch.
If
we don't get to all the questions, we will answer them. We'll either comment here, or we might just turn your questions into a whole nother video. I think maybe next week we should do a follow-up segment to the questions that we missed.
We might do that.
So.
And it will be way more concise than this.
Because we won't be live.
And we'll be edited. All
right.
Moving
Amanda,
on.
Any advice for an adopted person connecting with non-adopted Korean and Korean Americans? It's awkward.
It It honestly does help explain it if you let them know up front you're adopted.
Oh, please, just do that. It will save you so much confusion in the end when they're like, well, don't you guys do this? Do what? What is that?
I've never heard of
Oh.
it. Anyan. There's there does seem to be a pretty distinct generational gap there when it comes to being accepting of Korean American adoptees. Pretty much everybody under 50 is pretty on board, and over 50, again, vast generalization in just our experience, are not quite as on board with the adoptedness of us.
Yep.
Going forward. But, you know, if you're willing and able to be honest about it up front, most of the people we've met are pretty cool with it.
Yeah. This one comes from Stacey Ann. Do you think formal counseling for as my adoptees are children, or wait until they are older? Should you get counseling for your adoptees as children, or wait until they are older? I think both are legitimate.
Yeah.
They both serve their purpose. There are some things that they're not going to understand as children that they may want to work through. And there are going to be a lot of things that they don't understand as teenagers that they're definitely going to need to work through. So yeah, both are legitimate.
I'm a huge proponent of family counseling.
Yes, that's big.
In that kids probably need counseling in a lot of respects, but also families need counseling in learning how to deal as a whole unit in with those things. Yeah, as far as like, I don't know, I honestly think maybe just give it a go and see if it takes.
Do it.
Yeah.
This one from Andy. What would you say to adoptees who are angry that they are adopted and or angry about adoption in general? Take the stick out of your butt. Guys, we've been talking for a long time. I'm getting horrible. So there's this whole thing about there's a lot of adoptees out there that are so bitter and angry towards their adoption. And now some of them are legitimate. I'm not trying to discredit anything that anybody has gone through.
Sure.
But I will say this. Everybody is dealt a hand of cards. It may be different from the person to the left and right of you, but everybody deals with their own crap. And you as an adult, you as a human being have to decide how you are going to approach it. You could be angry and bitter, or you can take the cards that you're dealt and move on. You can do something with it. You can turn it into something good and something that will help better other people. Or you can be bitter with a stick up your butt.
Or you can be bitter about the bitter people.
Those are your two and only two options. Oh, dear goodness.
Adults make decisions.
That's it. That's what it comes down to.
And as we become adults, we make decisions. That's it. Like you decide. Are you gonna be bitter about it, or are you not? Because somebody has gone through worse than whatever you've gone through.
Yep. Put it into perspective.
And some people have gone through some horrible things, and I'm not denying that. But from a standpoint of like, is adoption being the crux of your anger, the crux of your bitterness? There are a lot worse things that you could be mad about. So
him probably should be mad about.
Maybe go be mad about those things. But in the meantime, if you can't take hold of the fact that basic human life is a joy, which it is.
Yeah.
Look what we get to do.
Yeah.
We
get to be on the internet.
And that's on you. Look. You could start a YouTube or Facebook channel.
This one's going out to you, Andy. Start that channel. Come on, Andy. We know you're going to do it. We're just waiting.
Unless you're going to be bitter and mad on it.
No, she won't be. She's cool. Andy's cool.
But if you were that person, if anybody is that person and starts that channel, we will definitely make video responses to your channel.
Yes. All right, here we go. Anna, you may have already covered this, but did either one of you struggle with anger beyond what is normal as teens? If so, were you able to identify as an adoption-related anger, or were you angry with your adoptive parents? I was the angry one out of the two of us, and a lot of that had to do with me just being a teenager. But there are other things like the clinginess issue that really did play into my anger because I did not want to deal with people.
Sure.
That's
a funny thing that's going on there.
Yeah, my wife's, I think, saying that we need to follow up with this.
Oh.
Follow up, Kim. How long did it take for you to see this side of it through? it can take some time to see this. I don't know, wife, if you're watching, I don't know what you mean by this. So I'm going to keep going on until you type more so I can figure out what you mean.
Write a whole sentence there. And we'll get back to it. I think as struggling with anger, I to this day, we both do this, but to this day, if somebody gives me a basic correction, I take it as a personal attack and a criticism, which is a very adoptee-specific thing, and that led to a lot of conflict with my parents.
Yeah.
I think if we had known what that was, it would have been a lot easier to deal with then. But, I mean, the research wasn't there. Now, as an adult, I'm able to look at that more rationally and say, okay, this is a thing that I really need to work on. And otherwise, it would be a huge deal with my wife. So, thankfully, we are able to look at that and make conscious changes.
Yep. Okay, so it was a follow-up to the response to having to stick up your butt. How long did it take for us to see that side of it, to see the positive side of it? It wasn't long. Again, there's the ups and there's the downs of adoption, but there's the ups and downs of life. That's just kind of how it is. Being able to come with grips with that or come to terms with that is going to help tremendously in the future. This is just being an adult in general, like David was talking about before. But as far as the adoption side of it, like, you had two choices, and we still have two choices. We can either be angry and bitter about the whole thing, or we can learn from it, we can move on from it, and we can actually impact some other people and help them out with it.
I think it takes facing.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to do that.
And I don't know what age that occurs for most people, but...
it was 16, 17-ish for me.
Yeah. And for me, it's honestly been more recent years, and I think it takes facing, and I think it takes grieving.
Yeah.
You have to just accept that some things are beyond your control and some things are difficult. In the last few years, I've lost a lot. I lost both of my parents, my adoptive parents, within the last 5 years here, and had never dealt with any of the grief associated with the adoption, that relinquishment itself. And so I dealt with all of that grief up front in about a year and a half, and it was very hard.
Yeah.
But it takes facing, and if you're willing to do that and come out the other side saying, I am a fully functioning, well-adjusted adult that can make decisions, you decide. You decide whether or not you're going to be angry, or you decide if you're going to have joy, and that's on you.
Yep.
All right, next question.
All right, I'm responding. I'm commenting because we're running out of time here.
Okay, we've got like 3 minutes.
Carrie, did you recommend bringing up the unpleasant stuff or letting them come to you first? Bringing up, with our parents?
No, do you bring it up?
Oh, do I
recommend the parents bring it up with kids or
Gotcha.
I think my mom always would ask me if I thought adoption had anything to do with blank, and then let it go. Whether or not I responded or didn't respond, so that I was then able to, in my time, bring it up with her.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Jennifer, if you had a bio sibling who was also adopted to a different family, would you have wanted your adopted parents to try to find them or wait until you're old enough to decide for yourself? I think if my parents knew about it and they didn't do anything about it, I kind of might be irritated, to be quite honest. Again, the whole transparency thing, if they knew about it and didn't say anything about it, then that would be an issue. Because I felt like I would feel like you're hiding something from me. There's a reason why I shouldn't do it because blank. And if there's a valid reason, there's a valid reason. But if not, maybe not so much. Okay, Will, this is a longer one. Hey guys, I'm really late. Sorry. It's fine, Will. We forgive you.
We're still here.
Question, is it too easy for Americans to adopt these days? It seems like on YouTube there are so many couples that have like 5 bio kids and then adopt on a whim. It's very hard in Australia. From the start to pick up average time is 4 to 7 years. Holy cow. And you have to go through compulsory courses and hurdles and stuff. Love your work. It's really helped. What is it? Oh, it's that 3D print guy.
Hey.
Yeah, go check out his channel. He does some really fun stuff.
Yeah.
I did not know that Australia was 4 to 7 years.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That's insane.
Yeah. I don't think that I would classify it as too easy. I also don't know that I would classify it as too hard.
Right.
I think it's a tremendous expense. I think domestic adoptions here are. I actually think domestic adoptions here are too difficult. In a lot of cases, there's too many bureaucratic holes. I think that international adoptions perhaps are too easy in some regards.
Yeah.
Because it's just money a lot of the times. That's a very unpopular opinion.
But we're full of them. That's why we get kicked out.
But we're full of that. I don't really have, but I don't really have any decision making capability on that one. So I'm just going to call that an opinion and say it is what it is.
So we are actually officially out of time, which is really sad because holy cow, we still got another page of questions that have come in. So we will be taking time to answer these. Again, we will either be answering them by commenting on your guys' questions or turning them into a separate video for next week, doing a follow-up response to all the different things that we did not get to. So thank you guys so much for joining us today for the 5A Summit. It's been awesome. We have 80 people right now.
Still on here.
Yeah,
right.
you guys are amazing.
That's
I love
nice.
you guys so much.
Yeah.
Want to give you guys a quick little insight onto what season 3 is going to hold. So, as Davo and I were talking earlier, we've got invited to come out to a couple different things to speak. We're going to be doing some collaborations and some live events with other people. We're going to be showing up on other people's Instagram pages for a live interview, which is going to be fun. But we need to be able to take this and support everything that we are doing because we love doing this, but we want to be able to support our families and actually spend more time doing this instead of, a bunch of other production-y things that we're constantly doing, which is a terrible thing to say live on the internet, but I'm going to say it because it's already out there.
Too late.
It's too late. This is why we edit. Dear God, this is why we edit. So we are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks with a way that you guys can partner up with us. There's no specific details yet, but just want to throw it in your guys' ears. It's not going to be a big thing. It's going to be about like a latte a month. Unless you get like the extra special lattes with a billion things in it, then, might be a latte every 3 months.
You probably need to cut back anyway.
Yeah, don't drink that. It's
Let's
bad.
be honest.
It's bad. Don't do
Black coffee, guys.
So we will be unveiling all of that here in the next coming weeks. We also have a website that we are in development. We are developing right now that it's going to have all our old content. It's going to have blog posts from us and possibly other people. We are going to be doing a podcast here for specific people. And then part of the partnership that we're looking at is doing more of these live events, but where we can actually talk with you guys instead of just having you sit here listen to us blabber on. So we might be opening up for other people to be able to join us for those live conversations like we're looking at like once a month right now.
Which
it's out there.
Is a thing that we're doing.
It's out there.
We are extremely grateful. We're extremely gratified. We are extremely humbled by the fact that you're here and that you've decided to participate and be a part of this. Honestly, we never would have anticipated that this would occur and that we'd get the ridiculous privilege to speak into your lives and to be a part of your process and a part of your journey. So we're just extremely humbled and thankful for that.
Yeah.
Please keep an eye out. Please encourage your friends that you think maybe need what we do to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And we're going to keep putting out these things for as long as we can.
Yep.
And with your help, we'll perhaps be able to do even more. So it's been an hour. And I know...
It's been an hour.
I know I'm tired. This is way more like animated than we usually are.
I'm out of tea.
And you're out of tea. And I've had a lot of beverages. And we've had a good time, and this has been really cool. So thank you for being a part of this. This has been very cool. And keep an eye out. You're going to see
Tuesday.
We're going to be back to Saturday, Tuesdays. You're going to see a weekend update on the weekend, and you're going to see us on Tuesday. So with our regular scheduled program for the next 11 weeks following this one, and we're going to unveil some new things as they come up. So for us, thank you for being here. We continue to be Brett and Davo. We are still adopted. Don't make it weird.
Peace out, hombre. It's my thing now. I'm running with it. Are you abandoning me? I feel like you're abandoning me.
Don't touch me.
Okay, I'm just gonna sit here and eat Pocky for a second. Bye, guys. I love you. That was awkward.